Hello and welcome to the Nick Anderson Show. Tonight we've got a group on called Blue Swans. It is Christina Swan's project, and they have put out some incredible material over the last year. This is a newer band, but they put on one of my favorite live streams. Actually, scratch that, my favorite live stream to date with Ivy Media. It was absolutely fantastic, synced up lights and everything. We'll talk about it in this interview, but I wanted to just say thanks to Christina and her team for all of the great content they're putting out this year, and I really hope you enjoy this interview with Blue Swans. Tonight's episode of The Nick Anderson Show is sponsored by my band, Nick Anderson and the Skinny Lovers. We just put out a new single called Meathead, which got on our first Spotify editorial playlist. Go check it out. I'll put the link right here, and it'll be in the description as well. Check that out. Thanks to Nick Anderson and the Skinny Lovers for sponsoring this episode. And as always, if you're interested in sponsoring an episode of The Nick Anderson Show, just hit me up at nickanderson717@gmail.com, or just send me a message on here, comment, whatever you want. We've got lots of time for sponsors, and we'd love to see it happen. If you enjoy The Nick Anderson Show and you don't want to be a sponsor, that is just fine too. If you go to our website right here, you can actually support the show and the band all in one click by supporting us for $4.99 a month. If you really enjoy the show, or if you enjoy any of the content that the band does, that really helps us. It helps us keep going. So yeah, that's a great way to support us. It's a great way to keep the show going and keep me smiling on the show instead of crying. So I'm just kidding. We have a great show for you tonight. All right. So Blue Swans, your name is Christina Swans. Is your last name actually Swans?
My last name is not Swans. My last name is Swangam. And, people struggle to pronounce it based on the spelling.
Okay.
And I would go to open mics, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to cut my name in half and keep it simple so I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, I like that. I can respect that too.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so your artist name is Blue Swans. So where does that fit in? Where did the name Blue Swans come from?
Totally. Well, I've been called a version of my last name pretty much my whole life, just through like sports, Swanee, Swanson, Swanstar, whatever.
Sure.
And so it just felt really natural to call the project Swans. And then I realized there's another band with that name, so decided to switch it up a little bit. I was like kind of panicking because we were coming close to a release, my first release. And then I discovered this other band who actually had a decent like following. So I'm like,
Sure.
Can't do that.
Sure.
And I was working a little bit with Matt Hessmuller, I think is his last name.
Yep.
And we just put our heads together and we're thinking for like 30, 45 minutes, tossing out ideas. And finally he just goes, "What's your favorite color?" And I'm like, "Well, to wear or to look at?" And he's like, "To look at." And I'm like, "Okay, blue." So we went with it.
That's fantastic. So I think this will become important later in the interview, but Matt Hasenmuller was the lead singer of the band Millennium, for the viewers who are watching, and he is kind of a lead singer staple in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, a great friend of mine. And if you know him asking you what's your favorite color is like the most Matt creative process thing I've ever heard. I love to look at. What's your favorite color to look? I can definitely see him asking that. That's awesome. That's
yeah,
cool.
For sure.
Cool. Okay, so next question, I'm going to pump you up a little bit because, so you did a live stream kind of at the beginning of quarantine and this whole pandemic thing. And I have to say, from then until even now, it was the best live stream I've seen from any musician, including my favorite band, the Foo Fighters, and like other bands. Like your live stream was phenomenal. For our viewers, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. But also, so like, I'm going to describe it a little bit. So you were in like this just like worn down room, like studs for walls, very like middle of construction site type room, but there was all these cool lights that were synced up to your performance, multiple camera angles, production value was through the roof, and it was amazing. Tell me about like how you set that up. What was it like performing in it? And just tell me about it, because it was an absolutely phenomenal live stream.
Yeah. So first I have to give credit to Kyle Lehman, from Ivy. That was really his creation. And we, wanted to do something different, a little bit different than like the living room type of live stream that, a lot of artists were doing, which honestly awesome. Love it. But we just wanted to branch out a little bit more. And so Kyle, really was the instigator of that. So that was his creation. But it was a ton of fun. We did it all in one night, like the setup, and practiced it and then went for it. And yeah, it was a huge learning experience for me. I had a ton of fun, but yeah, super cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, like the lighting that you had, like, so you had kind of your lights in a square around you. So lights were your stage,
yes,
which was super cool. And then I love that I could tell it was actually live. Like you were singing live. Am I right?
Yeah. So
okay,
it was a live recording.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I just wanted to, put that out there because it was really, really good. The lighting was absolutely phenomenal. And before you did that live stream, Kyle was kind of talking to me and saying like, oh, I'm working on something really cool with lighting where we're just going to flip on different lights at the right time and things like that. So,
yeah. And actually Kyle Culver was running the lights throughout the show. So,
okay.
we
cool.
had.
So let's hop in and talk about Kyle Culver then. So, my next question is, who are the other musicians involved with your project?
Yep. So this project started out as a solo project. We've assembled a group of musicians now to formulate the band. So we've got Kyle in production and acoustic guitar. Josh Becker, who played bass with the Millennium for a bit as well. And then we added a guitarist from Minneapolis. His name is John Hoffman, and he played locally here for a few years. Really great guy. So that's the group.
Awesome. And how do you? So how did you meet Kyle and Josh from Eau Claire?
Yeah. I lived in Eau Claire for a year, and I saw the Millennium play the Plush. And, Kyle,
right?
yeah, Kyle would be around just at mics and stuff as well. So we had a conversation. This was probably 5 years ago at that point in time. And he wanted to meet up, and I apparently ghosted him. I don't remember this. And then fast forward, 4 years or so, a mutual friend reconnected us.
Okay.
And, I just started working with him on the EP.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then of course, snowballed to meeting Josh, and so that's how I know those two.
Awesome. And then your guitar player, what was his name again?
John Hoffman. And then how did he come into the mix? Because this is fairly recent, right? Yeah. So I connected with him during the summer. I'm in a music group on Facebook for the cities here. It's called Do It Together Minneapolis.
Sure.
And so I just posted a message looking for a lead guitarist. Here's our group. I put the music video in the post so folks could see what we're kind of about. And John reached out, and I actually missed his message
So you ghosted him too.
Oh man, apparently it's like a pattern. No, I really try to pride myself on communication and getting back to people, but apparently...
Well, I will say you got back to me about the interview in very good time. I was not ghosted. I did not feel ghosted at all. So
awesome. But yeah, so we connected a few months after that initial message, and he just, played a little bit for us, and he's, great skill, super funny guy, just... really good person. So we're
Cool.
happy to have him.
Cool. So I was going to mention this to you. You have Kyle Culver in the band, and he is a fantastic producer and recording engineer. And are you aware that it is the lead singer dream to have a recording engineer and producer in the band?
You know, I guess I wasn't aware it was the dream. I do feel pretty fortunate though.
Yeah.
You know, so the way that things worked out, so I feel really good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super. It's awesome to have someone like that in the band that can hear things like that, and he's an incredibly talented musician as well. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
All right. I'll stop harping on you now. Hey, this is just a quick interruption to remind you that if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, it helps us out a ton. If you enjoy this show, feel free to subscribe below. You can also support us on our website by signing up to support us for $4.99 a month, or you can just buy an album or something like that, or just listen to our music. Whatever you do, it really means a lot to us. Really. It really means a lot. All right, now back to the end. All right. So as far as Blue Swans, do you consider yourself a band? Do you consider yourself a solo artist with a band? And I don't mean this as a question of like hurt feelings. You're obviously a family, a group that works together, but do you kind of know what I'm asking here?
The way that we're really positioning it is just like this is, you know, my project. This is my dream that I've wanted for years and years, and part of that dream is having a band. And I think I get the most from music and put out the best product when I'm able to collaborate with others. So yeah, we've got it structured that way, and we talked it through as a group. Like, how do we want to put this thing out there, you know?
Awesome.
And so we kind of concluded, like, this is still my project, but we're all a part of it.
I love that. And I think a lot of bands miss that conversation. So, like, that's a really hard conversation to bring up and to have, is like, how are we putting ourselves out there? And the fact that you had that open communication with your other band members and things shows me that you're going to, like, be a lot more successful and last a lot longer than most groups, because I think that's where a lot of groups fail, is that they don't have those conversations of, here's my vision, is this your vision, or do we need to talk about this now? And so I think that's really cool that you had that.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, it's proven to be a little bit advantageous during this time where we can't really get together.
Right.
Do things as normal in terms of creating music and photo shoots or whatnot, you know. So just like doing some things by myself to continue moving forward, like on like social media fronts, if you will.
Right.
It kind of works out, or has worked out well.
Awesome. I really like that. Okay, so that was my hardest question. My next question, so your EP and your new single that you released, I can't quite pin down the different influences. I have a guess at some, but I'm curious, what influences, like, do you have for your music? Have they changed? And just overall, what are your influences?
Yeah. I mean, you know, Justin Vernon, that's always Bon Iver. That's always there. I feel like a lot of my influences you may not be able to necessarily hear or pick out like right away.
Okay.
But the 1975, Chelsea Butler, oh man, Muna is a huge influence for me. Okay. The Japanese House. I mean, there's a lot, but like, yeah, I'd say that those are definitely some of the top influences.
Super like vibey music.
Oh yeah, we want to vibe it.
Yeah, that's awesome. 1975 was like, if I was gonna pick one influence for you, I was like, boom, stamping it on. Like,
yeah,
especially the new single that you came out with.
Yeah,
super 1975 vibes on that.
Definitely.
Really enjoyed that. So who did the music video for your newest single?
Yeah, Luke Larson. He's actually out of oh shoot, is it South Dakota? But I got connected with him through my good friend Catherine Kerwin. She went to school for videography, and it was one of those scenarios of just like asking your community of people for help and saying, this is what I'm trying to do, and them saying, oh, you should talk to this person.
Yeah.
And that's how we got linked up with Luke, and he did a phenomenal job. It was awesome to work with him. So
Awesome. Really liked that music video. And speaking of music videos, so your first music video, you had this giant, awesome release party for right before the pandemic happened. So I was lucky to go to that release party and see all that love that you had that night, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
That music video, the first one, you worked with Austin Scherzberg for. And so I've also worked with him for music videos for us. What was your experience working with him, and how was it for your first music video?
Yeah. Austin, actually, let me rewind here real quick, because Luke shot the video. I just got to call out that Kyle Culver actually wrote and directed it.
Okay.
So that was really cool to have, like.
So are you talking about the most recent one, or?
Yeah, Talking Like a Shadow.
Okay. Okay.
Kyle wrote and directed that, and then Luke came in and shot it, and it was super awesome because that was a new experience for Kyle, and he just crushed it. So
awesome.
But yeah, going back to the On My Own music video, working with Austin. Austin is a true professional. I mean, he knows the shots, and Kyle Lehman is actually who directed that video.
Awesome.
And so, and then Alec was there as well. So that was the crew, and that was my first music video, you know? Yeah. So I was just kind of like, they
did not look like your first music video. That was professional as hell.
Yeah. No, I was super fortunate to get to work with them, and, you know, they had a vision for it. I told them, like, here are the feelings that I want to convey for this video. And they were like, all right, we're going to run with that. And they did a great job.
Yeah, it was sick. So quick shout out. The people that we're talking about, Kyle Lehman, Kyle Culver, Austin Scherzberg, this is all people from a company called Ivy Media in Eau Claire. Alec as well, that I didn't mention. Ivy Media in Eau Claire. They do fantastic media work, from music videos to commercials to anything media, photography. A lot of our stuff that you've seen from our band is that, and as well Blue Swans here. So quick shout out to them. They do awesome work. That's super cool. Yeah, you're like, that's one thing I noticed in that music video too. So I did not think it was your first music video, but now knowing that, like, you had such confidence on the screen, and a lot of people I don't think realize that once a camera's on you, a lot of people freak out when there's a camera on them, and like they act differently, and you're like just chilling, and then a camera's on you and you're like, ah. So I didn't see that at all. Like, you were so confident, so composed, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, there's definitely an adjustment. Took me a little time to warm up, but once I was in it, you know. Yeah, I dug it. Okay, so one of my favorite moments of one of your songs is a background vocal where you go, "Oh my God." Where did that come? Whose idea was that? And like, yes, if you had to take a guess who walked into the studio and came up with that, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, I don't.
It's one of the names we've dropped.
Probably Matt.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like 99% sure that was Matt. Yep.
That's awesome. If you don't know what we're talking about, on Christina, or on Blue Swan's song "On My Own," listen for a background gang vocal that's just like, "Oh my God!" It's perfect.
Yeah, that one always makes me laugh, because when we did that in the studio, we just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, it could come off as like a very serious thing in the song, but we were dying like the whole time. So
yeah. It was awesome. It was awesome, and mixed very well, because a lot of times when you're laughing at like something that in the studio, I feel like sometimes you mix it a little too high because you want it so bad, but it was tucked. It was tucked in the mix just perfectly.
Oh, Justin Anderson.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Another quick shout out, Justin Anderson, someone who both Blue Swans and I mix our music with, does a fantastic job in Eau Claire with Twilight Sentinel Productions. Just a few more questions for you. What's in the future for you? What are you working on right now?
Yeah. Just working on putting out more music. We've got probably 3 songs that we're working on pretty consistently right now, and releasing those as singles over the next few months here. And then, of course, wanting the live show, to come back, and just getting geared up for that as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Do you have any tentative dates on when we can expect those 3 songs to come out? You don't have to say anything.
No, if I had a tentative date, I would totally toss it out there. But we're really trying to focus on the quality of the songs and not feel the pressure of a release date. So
that's a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 more questions. What do you most want people to know about you? Personally, not your music, but you personally.
Me personally. Nick, I think this is your hardest question. Okay. Let's see. What do I want people to know about me personally? I think it's really important to know that I have an incredible cat named Lucy.
Okay.
She gets featured in some of my content.
Okay.
And she's probably been my best pal over the last few years here. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Keep that cat content.
Yeah. Okay. And then this one is slightly easier. What do you most want people to know about your music? Or feel about your music? Maybe that's.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this very in depth the last 2 days, and the name, Blue Swans, and how that developed. There's a short answer of that, and there's a long answer. And I think my music, I want people, of course, to relate to it, but a lot of my experiences have been kind of overcoming some adversity in some way. Just being in the LGBTQ community, there's been some experiences that have been really challenging for me, and music is always how I've processed that.
Sure.
And I'm grateful to be at a place where I'm a little more settled and confident in the things I'm doing, and I've built a community around myself that I love. And so I want anybody that's listening to Blue Swans to be able to see the path that I've taken and the things that I'm pursuing, and know that they can do it too.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you just answered the first question also without
a more serious answer to the first question.
I just didn't ask the question the right way.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely love that answer. And like I said before, whether it's your music video or your just music in general, the confidence that you exude is phenomenal. And I think that goes along with what you just said. You've experienced adversity in your life, but here you are, this incredibly confident person that does cool art.
Yeah, I always try to make a point to tell my team, the people on my team, when we are shooting something, when we're recording or doing something big with the music, I just always say we get to do really cool things.
Yeah. And
I want other people to be able to do the really cool things that are important to them. So
awesome. I love that. Cool. Well, that concludes this interview. Awesome work. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you. And
thank you so much for thinking of me.
Thank you so much for watching the Nick Anderson Show tonight with Christina Swans of Blue Swans. What a fantastic group Go check them out. And as always, subscribe to the Nick Anderson Show below. And every time I get a new subscriber, I sing a little song to myself. So you can just know if you hit subscribe, I'll be singing a little song and it'll be awesome and cool. So subscribe below, and we'll see you next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m.